All right, this is going to be 3.2. We're talking about truth tables for negation, conjunction, and disjunction. So a truth table is a device that's going to determine the value of compound statements. So the easiest one, remember, is our negation, and that is the not. So if a statement is true, to negate it, it makes it false. And if a statement is false, to negate it, it makes it true. So you have a choice. You have two options that your statement can be. It can either be true or it can be false. So if I say the statement, today is Thursday, and that is true, if I negate it, then it would be false. And if I say, I am 6 feet tall, which is false, if I negate it, then it would be true. Now, when we put two statements together, there are four possible cases. And these cases will be given to you, so you don't have to remember them. But you have basically four options. They both can be true. The first one can be true and the second one false. The first one can be false and the second one true, or they both can be false. Okay? So now we're going to look at a conjunction. And so remember, a conjunction is an and statement, and that is the symbol that looks like that. So we have two statements. P is the statement, the carpet will be delivered on Thursday, and Q is the statement, the furniture will be delivered on Friday. So the first case, the carpet is delivered on Thursday, and the furniture is delivered on Friday. So everybody met the requirements, and they delivered on time, and you get a true result. Case 2 says that the carpet was delivered on Thursday, but the furniture was not delivered on Friday. And so that is a false result. Case 3, the carpet was not delivered on Thursday, and the furniture was delivered on Friday. Again, you have a false result. And then, of course, the last one, if neither one of them was true, the carpet wasn't delivered, the furniture wasn't delivered on the day that they were supposed to, then we get a false result. So this is the rule that you're going to remember. And it says an and statement is only true when both statements are true. Okay? And that's the rule that you have to remember. So true and true is true. Everything else, a promise or a contract was broken, and that results in a false ending. Okay? Now the next one is a disjunction, and a disjunction is an or statement, and the symbol looks like this. So if you're applying for a job for the civil technician, you can have a 2-year degree or 5 years of experience. So if you have a 2-year degree and you have 5 years of experience, then you are definitely qualified for the job. You have both the requirements, but you only need one of them. Okay, case 2 says you have a 2-year degree, but you don't have 5 years of experience. So that would mean you are still qualified for the job. And then the third case says you don't have a degree, but you do have 5 years of experience, then you are qualified for the job. But the last case says you don't have a degree, you don't have 5 years of experience, you are not a candidate for the job. So an or statement is only false when both are false. So we're going to fill in the table. This is true, this is true, this is true, and the last one is false. So now what we're going to do is we're going to practice writing out some of these tables, okay? So if you have a situation that looks like this, you're given your P's and Q's. This is an and this is a negation. But you see that there's no negation there. So sometimes they'll give you a table where you're going to have to add some things in. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to add a little column right here. And I'm going to title this column as my negation. So I'm going to make a little extension here. And I'm going to say negate Q. So I'm going to take everything in this column and I'm going to make it the opposite and put it in that column. So the opposite of true is false. The opposite of false is true. The opposite of true is false. And the opposite of false is true. And these will all be drop-down boxes. Okay? And so now what I'm going to do is now I'm going to do an and statement between this one and this one, P and not Q. So remember, an and is only true if they're both true. So true and false, and I'm going to write it right here, true and false gives me a false result, and that's the answer that I'm going to put in there, okay? Then I look at true and true, and that's the only time an and is true. And then I look at false and false, and so I'm going to write it here just for your notes, and that is false. And then last but not least, I have a false and a true, and that is also false. So your answer box is going to be this column right here. I'm just writing it out in that box so that you see how I'm comparing it, okay? All right, let's go to this one. So here we've got this table. The first thing I'm going to do is take everything in P and make it the opposite. So true becomes false, true becomes false, false becomes true, and false becomes true. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the Q. I'm going to take everything in Q and make it the opposite. So that's false, that's true, that's false, and that's true. And now I'm going to put an and between these two columns. So false and false is false. False and true is false. True and false is false. And the only time an and is true is when they're both true. So that would be my final result, okay? All right, so now we're going to get a little bit more complicated. We're going to start with our negation, and we're going to take everything in Q and make it the opposite. So I get this column that says false, true, false, true. And then it says I'm going to highlight P or not Q. Okay, so make a note that this is an or, and the only time an or is false is when they're both false. So this true or false would be true. True or true would be true. False or true would be true. And false or false, whoops, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong column. Yikes, sorry. Let's go back here. Error. Sorry, this would be false and false. I'm looking at the wrong column, so I should highlight this one. Okay, false or false, that would be false. And then I'm going to go false or true. So false or true, and that would be true. So the only time you have a false and an or is when they're both false. Okay? All right, so now that I have that column, now I'm going to take everything in this column and I'm going to negate it. So I'm going to make it the opposite. So true becomes false, true becomes false, false becomes true, and true becomes false. Okay? And that is it.